begins in a tiny village, more or less covered in snow. The snow had fallen during the long night, during which children had pressed their faces to the windows, looking for a glimpse of a man who they suspected of bringing them wonderful gifts, but instead they heard a terrible noise from a certain cottage in the neighboring iridescent, a word here which means a place where something was being born. The cottage was already regarded with some suspicion, as it was the only place not decorated with flashing colored lights at this time of the year. The thing that was being born was a latka, a word which here means potato pancake. Latkes are a traditional part of the celebration of Chanukah, a holiday commemorating a miraculous Jewish military victory. Nearly everything in this world is born screaming, and the latke was no exception. Even though the latke wasn't conceived and born the way you and I were conceived and born, but instead was fashioned from grated potatoes, chopped onions, meat, eggs, and a dash or two of salt. Once these ingredients were properly mixed, the latke was slapped into a pan of olive oil, heated to a very high temperature, and this is when it began to scream. Ah! Ah! The latke was suffering so much that it leapt out of the hot pan and out the window of the cottage and began to run, screaming down the boulevard. This may seem like unusual behavior for a potato pancake, but this is a Christmas story in which things tend to happen that would never occur in real life. The latke ran past a row of flashing colored lights which hung from the rain gutters of a less suspicious cottage.
What's all that ruckus? Where's the ones who are supposed to be dominating the neighborhood with our cheerful glow?
I was just thrown into a pan of boiling oil. Can you believe it?
Yes, but we can't imagine why.
Because I'm a latke. The olive oil reminds us of the oil used to rededicate the temple following the defeat of Antiochus at the hands of the Maccabees. The oil was supposed to last for one night, but it was a miracle, and it lasted for 8. Plus, frying makes my skin crispy and brown.
So you're basically hash browns? Maybe you can be served alongside a Christmas ham.
I'm not a hash brown. I'm something completely different.
And the latke screams. The latke rounded the corner and found itself face to face with a candy cane, which wrinkled its red and white nose at the latke in distaste, and said,
I'm trying to sprinkle the night air with my peppermint scent. Your mouth-watering smell, not to mention all that yelping, is spoiling the effect.
My mouth-watering smell is part of the cozy feelings of Hanukkah. It reminds us that things are better now than they were in 175 BCE, when my people were not allowed to practice their religion. In order to study the Talmud, they had to hide in caves, and when they heard Greek soldiers approaching, they had to pretend that they were gambling with a small spinning top called a dreidel.
Sort of like Joseph and Mary hiding out in the manger. Someone should write a Christmas carol about you.
I'm not part of Christmas. I'm something totally different.
and the latke screamed. The screams of the latke grew quieter and quieter as the pancake ran out of the village into the surrounding forest. Its utter fury was unabated, a phrase here which means the latke was still very annoyed at the objects to whom it had spoken. But it was quite tired, so it decided to rest for a few minutes beneath the branches of a little pine tree. The pine tree was napping, but woke up at the sound of an object flopping down at its feet, and said,
"Are you a present? Presents are pretty much the only thing allowed to sit beneath me during the time of
Presents aren't really a big part of Hanukkah. There's nothing wrong with giving gifts to loved ones, of course, but it's not to commemorate the miracle in the temple and the miracle of victory, even when you are really outnumbered, so you shouldn't give up hope.
Plus Santa Claus.
Santa Claus has nothing to do with it. Christmas and Hanukkah are completely different things.
But different things can often blend together. Let me tell you a funny story about pagan rituals.
But before the pine tree could begin its story, a family came trooping through the snow, searching the forest carefully. Pine tree, stay out. Pine tree, stay out. Latka next to the pine tree. And the father says,
We shouldn't have waited until the last minute to get ready for the holiday. We'll never find a good one.
You shouldn't give up hope. Look, it's perfect. Beautiful. Such a marvelous shape.
And its skin looks so crispy. We'll need to reheat it, of course, but this will be perfect for Hanukkah dinner with a topping of applesauce, sour cream, and even jam.
Oh, we fry it in oil to remind us of the rededication of the temple. And the triumph of the Maccabees over Antiochus. After hiding in caves all that time.
the father smiled down at the Latka in his mitten and then stared curiously at his other hand and says,
What was I thinking bringing this axe?
The family strolled back to the village, walking past all the cottages with flashing colored lights and smiling politely at the candy canes until they reached their own home. The family carried the Latka into their own home, which was warm and cozy, and sat down at the table, which was lit with the flickering candles of a menorah, or Hanukkah, which is a branched candelabra designed specifically for the holiday. It is very frustrating not to be understood in this world. If you say one thing and keep being told that you mean something else, it can make you want to scream. But somewhere in the world, there is a place for all of us, whether you are an electric form of decoration. Where's the lights? Come on out. A peppermint scented sweet. A source of timber. Or a potato pancake. On a cold, snowy night, everyone and everything should be welcome somewhere, and the Latka was welcomed into a home full of people. How many? Who understood what a Latka is and how it fits into this particular holiday, and then they ate it.